Morning, guys. It's Tuesday and it's August 13th. And let's take a look at that gap scan. CXAI, leading gapper, 68%. Volume is good, float's good, price is good. It's probably the one that's being most watched today, I want to say. I traded it this morning a little bit. Let's go over that for a second. I don't often go over my trades. I should do that more. Okay, so it was 4:50 West Coast time, and this stock starts to make a breakout move right here on the 5-minute time frame. Right here, it broke out. It was pulling back right here. It had a 5-minute candle pulling back. And right here, it started to make its move back up. So I didn't have it pulled up in time to actually buy the pullback. But as it started to move back up, that's when I was ready to trade. So I jumped in it for the break through 248. And then it failed and it pulled back. And it was a small position, so I held it on the pullback. It came back down to support here. I ended up buying it again and then selling to bring my cost basis down. So I took a loss, but now my cost basis was down here at 242. Then we had an inside bar, kind of a bullish reversal hammer. And I thought that looked pretty good. But then this candle kind of gapped up and then it started selling off pretty good here. It was red coming down and I was like, I don't think I want to be holding this if it's going to pull back further. Because I was looking at the 5-minute and we had this level down here to be watching 236. And I'm like, if it's going to come down there, I don't want to be holding this position. So I went ahead and got out of it. But then it started making its move back up. And as this candle closed as a nice bullish candle, I went ahead and jumped in it here 3 times and let it move. It broke out over the highs. It started making its move up. And I had... Let me see if I can switch over to the 5-minute real quick. So I had a line drawn here. That was going to be my target. But I did end up selling some of it on the way up. So the target was a long ways up there. So I sold it here. I held the 3rd position to see if we'd maybe get that move up. It started pulling back here and I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and take the profit on that. And I was up, pretty good, 25 points, a quarter of the way to my daily goal. But then it starts moving back up. I'm doing other stuff. I look back over, I see it starting to break. So I jump in it and it breaks through the high. It doesn't hold up. And then in this next candle, I'm like, I don't know. It didn't close above the highs. So I went ahead and got out of it. And this started pulling back a little bit. And then I jumped back in kind of right off of this resistance here. Whoops. And so right off of this resistance right here. But then it started pulling back further. So I bought again down here and then I sold to bring my cost basis down. So I took a small loss. Then it drops down even more. So I bought and sold again. Drops down a little more. So I bought and sold again. Just keep bringing my cost basis down, taking those small losses. And then it drops and breaks below this support. And so I end up selling it and gave back more than half of what I had made on this move up. So that was a little disappointing. And then after it broke that support, I'm like, you know what? Sometimes these things do break support and then they'll bounce. It's got the EMAs right there. So I jump back in it thinking, okay, maybe it's going to do it. And it starts to fail. So I get back out. Not the best trading on this candle. I just thought maybe it would hold up and we'd see that move up towards that descending line up there. But it just never got there. And so then my next place I was watching for an entry was down in this area right here. I had drawn these lines and we pulled back into that zone. So I bought it 3 times I sold one here for just a little bit, sold the next one up there, and then didn't feel comfortable holding. I was just expecting a lower high because of the amount of the pullback here. So I went ahead and sold it. It bounced a little bit more, but then ended up pulling back. And so then I was going to be done at that point. I was back close to where I was when I had that first trade up here. But then I look over and I say, oh, wait a minute, this is starting to drop. So I look over at the 15-minute time frame. Let's go there. And what I looked at on this, get rid of these, is this right here. So this is what I was looking at. This is that breakout spot. This is a trough. And it hadn't been back tested yet. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, maybe there's something there. I had marked out this line too. There was an entire zone right there. So you can see that 15 lower low. So down here, I end up selling all of it, I believe. I got out of all of it. No, I was still holding one, but I didn't want to be holding two positions if this was going to keep coming down through this support zone. I had some limit orders down here to buy down around the 233 area, but it held up, started moving back up. So I added back on this show of strength, a little equilibrium here. And then my target was the volume weighted average price, the dotted line. So I sold two of those positions into the volume weighted average price. I held the next one in case it wanted to go higher. I let it pull back here pretty close to where I was going to exit. If it pulled back a penny more, I was going to get out. But then because that was my break even. But then it started to bounce, but then it was like kind of just messing around, wasn't really doing much. So I just went ahead and got out. This started to look like an equilibrium forming. But then it, ultimately it held that 15-minute support line that I had marked out here and ended up making a nice move back up. But I was done trading it at this point, made back most of what I had lost, and I was happy with that. So got my feet wet a little bit on CXAI here pre-market. Let's take a look at what else is going on. CXAI leading gap are up 70%. We'll break that down in a second. We've got 10 minutes to go. HSAI. Now this one, it doesn't look too good to me, especially on these larger time frames and stuff. I did mark out some dailies, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not too thrilled with it, so I'm gonna leave it alone, I think. And let me freeze this here. CNTM. This one I have not seen yet. Let me see here. I don't see any news on it. It's got something, but it doesn't really say what it is. Some connect ranks. I don't know. Let me see. What do we got? This one's not so bad. I might actually put this one up. I think I'll put it over there on my charts. My number 2 chart. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. Let me see. What are the daily levels on that? Okay. So we're up over that at 273. And then there's a lot of room all the way up to $10 or $9 where the 200 moving average is at. Okay. We'll see on that one. Okay, HSAI. This one I was going to watch, but I decided not to. AILE. This one I was also going to watch. As it broke, looked like it was going to break over, and I thought maybe at the open it might, but then it did it pre-market, and now it's selling off, so I'm not going to watch that one. BZFD has a little bit of news on it, but it's so light on volume and stuff, I'm just going to skip it. GCTS, this one's also kind of light on volume. Oh, well, I'm sorry, it's not light on volume, but it's got to get over the VWAP, but I'll be watching it. So I've got that one on my list. It's got a nice, it's got a decent float. It's not the best, but 29 million, that's not terrible. 6 million shares traded, that's pretty good. OGen is a no for me. Did GCTS, it has news as well, semiconductor. So MGI, not interested in that. And further down, the rest of these, I'm not I'm not really interested in any of these, except ONON. It's higher priced. I don't normally trade ones that are in this $40 range, but if the spread is tight enough, I will trade it. So I'm going to watch it and look at what the spread does into the open. And that's about it. The rest of these in the high day scan, they're kind of junk. So let's go back over here. And now we'll take a look at the stocks I have. There's just over 5 minutes to go until the open. All right, so the daily time frame up here, 347 is resistance. Pre-market high is 313. Got a resistance at 295 and another one at 268. This is an hourly equilibrium. So support is down here at 217. And let's get rid of this one and this one. And just for my sanity's sake, I'm going to connect the dots there. So I'd say that ascending line is a target, but we could definitely see a break over that. This one's been consolidating for an extended period of time. So, you know, what I'm going to look for is that hourly equilibrium, maybe a little higher low on the hourly here. If it wants to drop down and form an hourly higher low, that would be great. This one to me is the most obvious. So CNTM, this is the one that popped up on the gap scan while we were looking at these, and it's kind of selling off here a little bit. Well, it's trying to get a 1 minute higher low, but I don't know. I'm not too pleased with the way the chart looks, but we'll see. All right, so let's get rid of this daily level because it's already over that. Got a pre-market high of 271, so that's up in here. There's room up to, or 171, and there's room up to 273. There is actually, now that I look at it, is it even worth marking out? There's a little gap fill here, and then there's room all the way up to the 200 moving average. So let's come down. This one, hourly higher low, looking for an hourly higher high, 15-minute uptrend. We can do that. Resistance. Okay, we got one there. Pre-market high. Okay, this one's a little on the cheaper side. GCTS, I don't like this big wick. Pre-market high up there. And we're getting close to 516. Quite a bit of resistance on this one. All these little levels. So I don't know if this one's got a lot of potential. Just depends. We got to get up to the pre-market high first off, and we're quite a ways away from that. Just looking for a lower high on this hourly time frame because of the amount of pullback. So we're in bounce territory here, and the bounce may have already happened. So I don't want to get aggressive this morning. Things aren't looking too good as of now. So ONON here. Resistance up at 42.45. That was the resistance that was tested here pre-market, and we pulled back from there, forming almost a cup and handle formation here on the hourly time frame. If we can get over 42.45, there's room up to 44.30, and then beyond that, 55.87. I got a little one here at 46.74. All right. Hourly consolidation probably is needed if this is going to be an awkward cup and handle here. Wouldn't want to see too much of a pullback really you want this to get all the way up to the same level as this other one here, 4250. I like this one as far as the chart pattern goes. Mark out a high and a low. Now we're just consolidating between 40 and 41.59. Only got a minute left, so it's time to get ready. Watching CXAI here as it looks like it might want to pull back, maybe give us that hourly higher low, keeping in mind that it could end up being an hourly lower low if there are no bulls present. Okay. Here we go. So 10 seconds. Trading ONON right out the gate. I'm going to go ahead and take the profit up there at that resistance. Jumping in on a pullback on CNTM. And man, CXAI really going there. Ah, get out of that. Watch out, get out of the way. Probably should have had my focus over here on CXAI, but it's pretty extended now. It's pretty easy to trade at the moment as far as orders being executed. See if it's going to want to drop here or at that previous high of day of 255. I don't know. I think it's going to drop more than that. So what we want to see is a 1 minute higher low. And a higher high. Trying CNTM over there again on a little pullback. Already took losses on it, but we'll see. Hard to tell if this one's going to hold up or not. Coming up to that 295. Can we get through it? Up to 313. Come on, baby. A little worried about a flush down. I think I'm going to sell a little bit there. I mean, it's holding up, but I don't want to be holding 500 shares if it does flush. Gonna have a new 5-minute candle coming up. What do we have on MIGI?